Appreciate that. Thank you.
No, I don't want.
Thank you. Whoa, I'm honored to be here. Thank you. Boy. Thank you. Appreciate that. Thank you. Well, y'all are excited, huh? Believe you are. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Go ahead and sit down. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Thank you. Sit down. Boy, I tell you what, it is truly, truly an honor to be here. Scott and MJ have been Donna's and I's heroes for, you can't help but get in Diamond Club or anywhere behind Dexter's stage somewhere and you sit there and of course Scott just kind of entertains the whole room. And then you have MJ over here, and actually I kind of get a kick out of watching MJ, how she handles Scott. You know, she's had to heard all the jokes 20 times and she still laughs. I think that's pretty good. Huh? You want to see it? Yeah, okay. Pretty, ain't it? Huh? Yeah? This one too? Yeah? Yeah? Gaudy, isn't it? You know? Yeah, it's the only business you can get in, you can be paid to be gaudy. Huh? I think that's great. How y'all doing good? Good. Y'all this excited on Monday night? Huh? Or do y'all wimp out and say, well, I'm tired? Huh? Oh, they put you way out there. I can't even spit at you. I mean, man, that's terrible. Well, I am honored to be here. I want to apologize for Donna not being here. Donna had planned, actually, we had even visited with some of the Diamonds over at Diamond Club in Hawaii, and Donna had planned on getting here, but I got to tell you what happened. I got a 7-year-old, just turned 7 in October, Daniel, who last year kind of started coming up with the same thing. It's where he's right on the verge, I guess. I don't know all of it because I had to leave, but something about the croup. And he had it last year. We were in Peter Island, and we got a call, and so we had to come back. He had some serious problems and all that type thing, and had to go in the hospital, so we came back from Peter Island. We're worried about the same thing happening this time. So I do apologize for Donna not being here, and so I know all you gals are going to be really disappointed, so I'm going to take a little break and be back out with a skirt and a dress on. I'm not going to wear the pantyhose, though. I want you to know that. But anyway, I apologize for that, and so it's just me, okay? Sorry. But I want y'all to know that I talked to Donna earlier today, and everything's fine. I say everything's fine. She's watching Daniel real quick. We want to keep him out of the hospital is what we want to do. So I hope you all understand that, and understand that even though we're a crown in the business, we still have challenges now and then, just like you do. And you have to deal with them, okay? Life just doesn't stop because you have some challenges. And I'd like to address that maybe a little more this evening, but this afternoon, I guess maybe we ought to start off, maybe we ought to turn the lights up maybe just a little so I can see you all. I want to see who's falling asleep, and I can throw, where's an eraser? Anybody falls asleep back here, I can throw one back here too, okay? Oh, this crowd's more excited back here than they are in front. I'll come back and talk to y'all. Now, listen, you all, hush, calm down, calm down. Hey, y'all are not back here because you came late, are you? Okay, I assume. If you came late, you deserve to be back there. Hey, this is kind of fun. I did a, we all right, Scott? Okay. I did a rally in Minneapolis here a couple weeks ago, and it wasn't this big. It was my group. But what was kind of interesting, before it was all over with, that evening there must have been 4 or 5, they had a stage very similar to this, and it was packed all the way around. I had about a 10 by 10 area. And if y'all know me, I got to have more room than that, and it was really tough. But anyway, I want y'all to relax a little, and I guess more than anything else, I appreciate all the compliments that I got from all the diamonds that are up here. I really do. I appreciate that a lot. But I don't know how to say this. Guys, I don't want you to put us on a pedestal. Don and I have not done anything that anybody else in the world can do. We really do believe that. All we did is we just set our sights on the business, and we kept our sights on the business, and we stayed focused. And I'm going to address that a little this afternoon. But we always tried to have fun with the business. I would like to tell you that it was just kind of like tiptoeing through the tulips and everything was fine. It wasn't. We had some challenges, and everybody seems to think because we went diamond in about 29 months, 2.5 years, that everybody seems to think that we just kind of. And to be honest with you, I just don't run into too many people that had some of the challenges that Don and I did, both financially. We had some time challenges. We had, when I went, the month I went direct in the business, I lost a 2,500 leg and I lost a 1,500 leg the month we went direct. And which was the 2,500 leg was one of our biggest legs at that point. And so we had some challenges. And I guess the question that always comes up is, well, how do you stay focused on on the business? How do you stay focused on what's going on? And I would just bring this up because just to start off here, and you'll find that I'm one of these guys that kind of go from this direction to this. You have to listen closely to find out where I'm going, because I'm not always sure where I'm going either. But, I would say this. Donna and I did not try to keep ourselves focused on the business. We kept ourselves focused on our dreams more than we did the business. And because we were focused on the dreams, we were then able to take the business seriously. Now, folks, I've been around long enough. Not that I've got it all figured out, and I never would come across that way, even though the things I know, you'll catch me over the next day and tomorrow probably too, speaking very boldly about the things that I absolutely know, and there is no room for debate. You can debate me forever while you go to your job, and I won't debate you, and I'll stay home and get rich, So you debate me all you want to. It doesn't make any difference. But I know a few things, and I do know that if you're going to stay focused in this business, you got to know what your dreams are. I realize that there are a lot of you in this room. I don't know how many people are here, but I got to believe in a room that this is size, there's at least one or two of you, and probably even more than that, you were kind of arm twisted to be here. You don't want to be here right now. You're looking at your watch, waiting for the thing to get over because you want to go do something else, because you really don't think that you need to be here. And I would just say to you that you are the person that needs to hear what I'm saying more than anybody else in this room, okay? You need to understand that, and I will challenge you there. I'm not going to, I understand. Well, obviously, we're in the Amway business, and we're going to be talking about Amway, but I have found over a period of time being involved in this business, I have found that the principles that we teach in Amway are generic in that they will work in any other business. So if you've got a better way of doing it, let me give you some tidbits so you can finally be successful in what you're doing, okay? And when I say successful, I'm just not talking about money. You'll hear me talking a lot about success. I know better than anybody probably in this room that money doesn't buy success. I know that. I don't know it by theory like most people do. I know it by fact. It has not changed. I still have bad days. You need to know that. I'm a Crown Direct, and I seem to have, but I have bad days, okay? I have good days. I have bad days. I have some days, real bad days, okay? And I have to check my attitude just like you do. Now, I will admit that over a period of time, I've got to a point, finances don't add or take away from a bad day. But I guess what I'm saying is just this. Unless you're there, it's only opinion. And opinions are a dime a dozen. So don't sit up there with your opinions unless you've got something to back it up. And I will say this to you also. I'm sure in the next 24 hours that I'll probably say something that you won't like. Doesn't mean it's wrong. It means you just don't like it. Cocky, aren't I? And I don't mean to be that way. I really don't. But at the same time, every time I speak anymore, I just want to grab people and just shake them and say, what are you thinking? Use the brains God give you instead of the social order that you've come up. I know this is the 90s, and we've got a new way to live in the 90s because for the last history of history, everybody was wrong, and now we've finally got it figured out. But I'll let you prove that your way's right and then get back with me, okay, in about 20 years. Y'all all right? Ooh, uptight group. Let's loosen it up just a little, okay? And I'm going to do this because I'm going to lay out some things on these boards. I've got the boards up. Obviously, one thing I'm going to write on them. And number two, if you throw something, I can get behind them. It works real well. But I do have a few jokes just to let you know that I'm not one of these, how would you say, nice little guys who just goes through life and prays every day and reads the Bible every day and builds the Amway business every day. Not that I don't do those things, but I still like a good joke, right? Y'all, yeah? Now, I will let y'all know, Scott, I will let you know ahead of time if these jokes are a little too off color, talk to my host because they approved them. Have y'all heard the Mary Ellen jokes? No? Mary Ellen. Mary Ellen, she's going down the street pushing a little baby buggy. And her little baby brother's in the baby buggy. She's going down the street, a little cobblestone street on a side street, and all of a sudden they come to a hill. And she trips. And when she trips, baby buggy just starts going down the hill real fast with the little baby brother in the baby buggy. Mary Ellen, she's looking at it as it goes down the hill, just going 50 miles an hour. And she laughs and laughs and laughs, because she knew there was a stop sign at the end of the hill. Which reminds me of, and believe it or not, I don't remember too many jokes. So when I remember one, it was special to my heart. I was sitting at EDC Club this year, and Jody Victor said, "Did you hear about the grasshopper?" He walked into the bar, ordered a drink. Bartender says, "Hey, we got a drink named after you." And he says, "You got a drink named Bob?" Now, I know I can't compete with Scott. I mean, you just look at Scott and he laughs, okay? So, Mary Ellen was going down, she's walking down Central Park. Shouldn't have been there. It was real late at night. She's walking through Central Park, and all of a sudden, a great big old guy comes up behind her, grabs a hold of her, takes a hold of her, starts wrestling with her, tears her blouse off, throws it on the ground, starts stomping on it. Mary Ellen, she just laughs and laughs and laughs because she knew her blouse was permanent press. Mary Ellen. Am I doing? All right, Scott? Okay. Well, we ain't got to it yet. Here it is. Mary Ellen's 16 years old. She's going out with a 16-year-old guy. Y'all remember those days? They go to a movie. They're sitting in the back of the movie. And you gals, you kind of act like you don't, but you do, I mean, snuggling up. Is she snuggling up, or is she just changing positions or whatever? They're sitting there enjoying the movie, and it gets to really kind of a romantic part of the movie, and all of a sudden Mary Ellen feels her boyfriend's hand starting to slip up her blouse. Now, don't get goody two-shoes on me. Every one of you in this room know exactly. What, are you going to stand up and tell me you never went parking? Okay, I thought so. Mary Ellen feels this hand starting to go up her blouse, and Mary Ellen, she just starts laughing and laughing and laughing because she knew her money was in her sock. Thank you. That's about all I can remember or I can tell you from stage. Well, we are talking about Amway today. One of the interesting things about this business is that we hear in this business a lot about dreaming. And I don't think that there's a seminar, or there's a rally, or there's a meeting, or anything, or a tape, or anything that you go to that there's not somebody that doesn't use the word dream. When I first got involved in this business, and you'll discover this over the next 24 hours with it, I don't know about the rest of you. I'm a businessman. I've been in business most of my life. Now, not always do I do the right things in business, but I've been self-employed most of my life. And I'll be honest with you, when I first got in this business, when I heard the word dream, I just kind of wanted to cringe. I mean, because it wasn't, I guess it just, I don't know if it's real, it just wasn't part of the conversation you had, either as an employer, an employer, or employee. I mean, you don't walk, how many of you walk into your boss's office every day or into work every day and they say, what is your dream? You know, you don't hear that very often. And I can understand for a lot of you that have a lot more education, and the more you have trouble dealing with this. But I didn't even get an education. I didn't graduate from high school, and yet at the same time, I had a hard time with this word dream. Now, I don't want to spend all afternoon just talking about the dream, because I know that a lot of you right now are saying, okay, I'll zone you back in, Ken, when you get past this dream stuff. But let me tell you something. I have never, and I've had a real opportunity, especially in the last 3 or 4 years, that Don and I have developed what I would call ultimate. I'm not sure the ultimate is the right word. Don and I make a lot of money. And I get a chance around the country to visit with people who make a lot of money. I'm not talking about a guy who's making $250,000 a year, you know, and my question is, you know, how does he live the other 11 months? I'm going to be, I'm going to be conservative with you. And believe me, I know I'm not building this up. I know exactly what I'm saying, okay? And just find out if you're sharp enough to hear it or not, okay? But the fact is when I got involved in this business, I was uncomfortable with the word dream. It wasn't something that, it just wasn't part of my vocabulary. I didn't walk around, nor do you walk around, you know, or did you walk around asking people what their dream is? And I think sometimes we miss it. I think even relating with people. I'll just give you one example. I was involved here probably about 60 days, maybe 90 days ago with a gal who sells carpet. And I was looking at some carpet. I wasn't involved in it, but I just happened to be there and looking at some carpet on an apartment complex my dad was involved in. And all of a sudden, this guy who was selling the carpet, she kind of pulled me over to the side and she says, you know, you're in the Amway business, aren't you? And this is Springfield. Everybody in Springfield knows that I'm in the Amway business, especially with this house that we built. I mean, everybody, around the country, I think, knows about this house. But she knew all about this house, and she was excited to sell carpet and that thing, but she wasn't interested in Amway at all. We got to talking a little. I have the privilege now of talking to people about Amway without having to contact them, and it is really fun. Just to kind of, because I'm not threatening. Once they discover hey, I don't need you. You need me, you're not smart enough to figure that out, that's your problem, I don't need you. And which, by the way, is an attitude that came fairly natural for me. I had this attitude basically the day I got in Amway. I looked at this as a business. Here I go in a different direction. I look at this as a business that I'm going to get involved with other people involved in this. They're going to be in their business, I'm going to be in my business, and by working together, we can both make our businesses go. And if I've got to beg you to get in my business, number one, I don't have a business worth you getting in. Number two, if I've got to beg you, that I'm going to be begging you every day for the length of your duration in Amway, and I don't have time to do that either. I've got the best deal going. I know I got the best deal going. I know it from a business standpoint. Let's get rid of all the Amway hype. Let's get rid of all the build it up and all that type thing. Strictly from a business standpoint, I know we got the best business opportunity in the country today. And you can compare it any way you want to compare it. I may not spend a lot of time on that day, but I know that I got it. Do you understand what I'm saying? You got to have that attitude if you're going to build this business. It's not one of these things, and I'm not saying that I haven't walked away. There's been situations where I have walked away and those people felt like they put me down. But I don't have time. I've got a good business, and I don't need to sit there and defend it with somebody who, the more I talk to them, the more they're not going to get involved in the business. If they want to make a rear out of themselves, that's their problem. I don't want to be there to watch it, okay? I know. Folks, I say this not only because I'm Amway fanatical, and I am Amway fanatical because it's the best. And I'll compare it any way you want to compare it. We got the very best there is. Anything else you get involved in, that's fine. I wish you well. Just understand, you're settling for second best. You're settling for second best. And you don't need to be settling for second best. You're better than that, okay? But anyway, it's the best. I know it's the best. I know that, and I want to tell you something. I continually learn that it is the best. Now, I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this, but here's what happens in the Amway business. If you build it and you get out there and you get focused, as we're going to talk about a little today, what's happened is over a period of time, you finally get to this point. And this is the part of the dream. You finally literally get to the point where you have every car that you ever put on your refrigerator. You have every house. I mean, we got lake houses. I got my cabin I'll tell you more about tonight. We just built this big house that I'll tell you about more tonight. I got limousines. Well, I'll just tell you this. I had a guy working for me here just about 30 days ago. I told him, I says, would you type me up a list of everything that I had that I have to get titled? We had 53 items on that list that have to be titled every year. I got Sea-Doos, I got go-karts, I got four-wheelers, I got limousines, I got boats, I got airplane. Did have an airplane, getting ready to buy another one, just sold it. I got all that stuff. But here's what happens, and this is where you get. I know that's a long way maybe from where most of you are. But this is what happens. Over a period of time, you literally look, and everything you got, and it's paid for. There is no debt. I don't know if y'all can comprehend that. I mean, we don't have any debt. I mean, other than what we charge on credit cards throughout the week or the month. And I will tell you this, I even got in the habit of using American Express more than any of the rest of them, so I was forced to pay myself off or pay it off every 30 days. I don't want to ever get in that position. I don't want to have to give in and be subservient to the almighty dollar. That was why I got involved in this business. That was a big reason. But here's what happens. You got all this money coming in over a period of time, and it may seem like a little, but it will domino, and it will compound, and it'll multiply over a period of time if you'll stay with it. And here's what happens. Over a period of time, you got this money coming in, you spend it for all the wants and the dreams and the luxuries. And some of them, I look and I say, that was the stupidest thing I ever did. I bought things that I really didn't want. I mean, I was guilty of that. I did a little of that. But here's what happens. After a while, you finally look around and you say, my gosh, materially, there is not anything that I can't get if I want. Material. I don't know if you can even imagine that. That's not what Don and I got in for that kind of stuff, but it's something that became available to us, and we took advantage of it, and I don't apologize for that. But here's what you have to understand about this business that's so unique, is it just keeps coming in. It just keeps. This year, my Amway bonuses, just my Amway bonuses, forget any other business or anything, just my Amway bonuses were all right at $700,000. I didn't need it. When it came in, I didn't have anything I had to pay off. I didn't have anything I wanted to buy. I mean, it just came in. And that happens all the time. Now, I'm saying this, hang in here with me. I'm saying all this because here's where you get. I finally get to a point there is nothing. Well, you invest some money, you save some money, you get people involved who take care of your money. You hire bookkeepers you hire CPAs to hire bookkeepers, or hire accountants who hire bookkeepers, who hire secretaries to keep track of all that stuff for you, okay? And here's what ends up happening. You got all this money continually coming in, you've got everything to take care of, and you got all this money, and all of a sudden you look at various different investments. Now, I've learned a lot in the Amway business. I have learned I've applied investing money. What I've learned in the Amway business, I have applied to investing money. Okay, and I won't go into that tonight, but I've learned a lot. I don't want employee. I don't want overhead. I don't want liability. I don't want limitations on investments that I'm involved in. I don't want something with a 5 or a 10-year payback on it. I don't want anything like that. Now, I want to tell you something. When you got literally hundreds of thousands of millions of dollars a year discretionary income, and your income's all taken care of, you end up buying into businesses. Now, I'm not saying this because I'm on any ego trip at all, and I'm really not. I mean, I am truly humbled to be on this stage and for you to stand up and applaud me, because I was back there. I said, I don't want to hear all that. I mean, I might start believing that what everybody's saying about me is true, okay? And I really feel that way. I mean, I put my pants on, guys, just the same way you do every day. I brush my teeth and it drips out the side just like you every day. There's days that I don't want to shave, and so I miss a spot now and then. I'm just a person just like you guys, just been in a little longer. But here's what happens. I've been privileged to be around some very wealthy people in the United States and been involved in some business deals with them. I got apartment complexes. I've got houses. I'm a major, the biggest investor in a how should I say, it's a hospital for adolescents that have problems at home. We're having a success rate that's incredible. Various different things I'm involved in. I'm involved in, now wait, I'm not saying, hold on here. I'm not saying it because it does no good for me to sit here and say, look what I got, if you can't do the same thing. I'm trying to make a point from a business standpoint, because I'm trying to reach some of you really sharp, top hat guys in this room that your ego is so ridiculously high, you just look at Amway as below you. I understand how you might think that way, but you don't have the right perspective. You're paying attention to your neighbor or your guy that you work with at work who's just as broke as you are, and he says, well, he thinks it. If they both think it and they think I get in, then they're going to think that about me. I'm not getting in. What you're really saying is your self-confidence and your self-esteem is about this tall, if you have the facts. And after today, hopefully, or the next 24 hours, maybe I can give you some of the facts. But I'm involved in a lot of various different businesses. I will tell you, here's what happens. It gets to a point after a while, you got everything to take care of, you're making a ton of money, discretionary income out of the Amway business, then you invest some, then all of a sudden you make more money. And it just keeps piling up and piling up. I'm involved in a lot of businesses. I don't know how many corporations I own. And again, I'm not saying that for my own ego, I'm just telling you. I'm telling you, we got the very best there is. There is not anything out there that's any better than this. We got the best. Every board meeting that I sit in on, which to be honest with you is not that many a year, I don't have any of the problems in my business that these people that are in board meetings have. Do you understand that? I mean, that's what we got. Maybe it's not Amway you want to do all your life. That's fine too. Go build yourself a business and then go out and play at whatever you want to play with, okay? Because if you just play with it, you'll probably succeed more than if you need it in the first place, okay? We got the very best there is. Now, if you know that, and gosh, I could get off on a whim here. I forgot to tell you about the carpet deal, didn't I? You all remember? See how it works? I was talking to this gal, and we were talking. I'm back on dreams now. I was talking to this gal, and she says, she says, I heard you're in Amway, and blah, 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 all this type of thing. And I said, oh, yeah, is that right? She says, yeah. She says, matter of fact, I got a sister who is just dying to be here, who's involved in the Amway business. And I says, so your sister's involved? And she says, yeah, she's involved in the Amway business. And I says, well, how come you're not involved? And she says, it's just not for me. How many of you ever heard that? It's just not for me. Well, she doesn't know anything except for what her sisters told her who's an Amway. This person who is an Amway could be anybody in this room. I was talking to the gal, and of course, I was not threatening to her. We weren't there for those situations, and I wasn't looking to sponsor. So I just kind of sit there and I said, well, let me ask you. I says, what did your sister tell to you? He says, well, she called me up, and she was all excited. They just got involved in Amway. She'd talk about everything under the sun, the products and all these type things. And I said, well, how come you get in? Well, says, it's just not for me. And I said, okay, I accept that. That's fine. I says, but let me ask you. I says, what did your sister describe to you or whatever? And she went off into this thing about the products and, you go up the volume scale and all that kind of thing. Here's the point she made. She said, I asked her one time, I said, Susan, that was the sister's name. I said, Susan, I says, what are you trying to sell me? Now, this is an Amway distributor talking to somebody they're trying to get involved or interested in looking at the plan. Says, what are you trying to sell me? And the sister said this. She says, I'm trying to sell you dreams. I'm selling dreams. That's what I'm selling. And the gal I was talking to, I looked at her, and she looked at me, and I said, hokey, huh? And she says, very. Here's my whole point. We get involved in the Amway business, and we're enthusiastic about it, and we should be. It's the greatest business in the world. It's a great deal for you, money and without money. But if we're going to relate, if we're going to be bringing people into this business, we don't want to forget where we came from. We don't want to forget that the word dream in itself was a hokey word before we got involved in this business. All of a sudden we get involved in this business, we get all hyped up about it, and all of a sudden we walk around talking about things that are great conversations, and their vocabulary fits the business we're in. But when we're out here trying to bring people into the business, sometimes we wonder how come we're not relating to people, and it's because we're using the Amway library of vocabulary here instead of talking to people. Dreams, and this is where I'm at. Dreams and the word dream and dreaming, get you dreaming, those things don't fit in normal businesses. We are in a very unorthodox business. This is not the common business. It's not the common way of doing business. And if you understand that, you understand what we're up against. We're up against a lot of people out there who all have heard about Amway, but nobody, if they're not involved in Amway, and I will say this, 90% of the people in Amway can't explain it properly, so it's a lot of misinformation. But they are determined, they know what Amway is all about, or what network marketing, or whatever you're camouflaging it with today, okay? Network marketing, what's another one we got? Interactive distribution, Amway. I come from an old school, and I apologize for this. It's Amway. Ain't no way to cover it up. It's Amway. What are you going to do about it? Show me something better. That's kind of how I look at it. Although I appreciate the crutches. Now, I'm going to give you a perspective. You're going to pick up probably a perspective from me that might be just a little looser. I'm not sure that's the right word, but I try to keep everything in check, okay? We're in a business. It's an unorthodox way of distributing products. It's an unorthodox way of doing business. Now, if I went out here and says, listen, I'm going to hire me 6 people, or I'm going to hire me 9 people, and I'm going to put some people underneath them, and I'm going to have them hire some people, everybody say, okay, I understand that. But when it's hard for people to understand that we are in our own business, each one of us in this room, even though we are in our own business, there are many ways that even though we're all in our own business and we all have different personalities, we still, though, have the ability to go out with our own personality and make it work if we understand the basic principles. I'm not doing a good job of this. Let me word it another way. Folks, we first have to accept that even though we're in the Amway business and we got the best deal, we're human. You with me? We're all human. Every one of us in this room knows, you got to know if you've been in this business for 90 days longer. There's nobody in this room that cannot go diamond if we can stay focused. Our challenge is we all, every one of you, and I say this with the utmost respect because Don and I deal with it just like you do. There are things that are pulling at us all the time. Amway comes into our life. We were already busy every 24 hours of every day, 7 days a week, 31 days a year, 365 days a year or whatever. We're busy. We know that. We come into this and all of a sudden we're involved in a business with a tremendous opportunity, and we have to figure out some way to fit this into our schedule. Now, I won't even take issue right now with the fact that a lot of us waste a lot of time. The fact is with all the pulling, with PTA meetings. I mean, I went to my daughter as a cheerleader, and I went and watched her cheerlead for a little while last night, and while I was standing there, I could see her looking over at me to see if Dad was watching. I mean, you understand what I'm saying? I mean, I got a son that's sick. I mean, we have challenge. I had a mother that just went through a mastectomy in December. I got a sister who just found out last week she's going to have to get a hysterectomy with whatever. She's going to be fine. And I'm not saying all these things to make you feel sorry for me. That's not what we're here. Don't feel sorry. We're doing great. God's going to take care of us. I know that. The point is, I want you to know I know where you're at. Better than you may think. I stand up on the stage and I was introduced, and boy, here's a guy, he got everything out of the way and so he could build the business, and I could do that too if I could get everything out of my way. Don and I didn't have everything out of our way, nor will we ever have everything out of our way any more than you will. The challenge is how did Don and I go through that maze of pulling and tugging, of family and money and all these things? How did we get through that maze that was no harder or no easier than your maze without getting pulled aside for a day or 24 hours or 7 days, or I got to take a little time off here to get this fixed, then I'll be back at the Amway business? Don't you love the guy that does that? He says, listen, I got a couple things I got to take care of, and once I get those taken care of, then I'm back on the track again. Let me tell you something. That guy ain't ever going to be back, and if you wait on him, you're the fool more than he is. Okay? You got to stay on track. How do you get through that maze? So the question is, how do we stay focused? Now, folks, I want to reiterate one more time, this is not Amway hokey pokey I'm talking about. If you're going to succeed at anything, you're going to have to end up developing some disciplines to keep yourself focused. There is not one person, God didn't just, okay, you can be a diamond and you can't be a diamond, okay? That's a bunch of garbage. Every one of us, God wouldn't tempt anybody in this room to be a diamond without giving you the ability or knowing you've already got the ability to be a diamond. But to go diamond as you would in any other business, any business, you got to be focused. You got to be focused on what you're doing. Now, I will say this. There might be a few of you saying, well, Kenny, I'm already involved in a business or I'm involved in a job where I am focused. And how do you expect me to get focused on something as great as Amway might be when I'm already focused over here? All I can tell you is you got to learn how to take one hat off and put another hat on. I did that. And it's not easy to do. I don't have some magical chemistry here or formula that will help you to learn how to take that hat off, let alone staying focused through the traps of life that we all deal with. Okay? We all have the same challenges. We got to stay focused. I don't know how to take that hat off. I don't know how I did it other than I knew when I got up and I went to work every day at my job, which was the home building business, I had to stay focused there. And then when I got off work or took off work, I'd take off in that pickup truck, and I push in a tape and I'd get myself into the Amway mode. And I kind of played both of those sides for about 1.5 years. And somebody say, I wish it'd be 1.5 years. I played those sides so well it only took me 1.5 years to be full-time in this business. Actually, about 13 months. If you can learn to play those, there's not one of you in this room probably that needs to still have a job 1 year to 1.5 years from now. Is that not exciting to realize that you're only 1.5 years from being free? I didn't say financially free. I didn't say retired. I said from being free from a job. Okay? And that's the first step. When I got involved in this business, and after I got involved and got really focused and was going along and started understanding it, and my faith and my commitment grew that I was going to do this, at that point, my first big deal in this business, and I'm not saying it's going to be the same for everybody in this room, but my big dream, one of the things that drove me, if I could take that 8 hours or that 10 hours every day that I spend on my job, if I could take that 8 or 10 hours and add that to the time I'm already putting into this business, we'll be diamond another 1.5 years, and that's exactly what happened. But so many of us, our big dream is, gosh, I want to get full-time in the business so I can wake up when I want to get up. Now, we have fun with those conversations, and I'm not saying you can't do that. There's not many people you're going to draw the plan for at 9 o'clock on Monday morning, okay? Thank God, because they're all at work, okay? But I am saying that, you just have to stay focused. Now, if you understand that, here's where we want to start. This comes back to some logic to this. If I want to stay focused, I have to have something in front of me that is reminding me all the time. Does that make sense to you all? Now, yes? No? Not sure? Okay? Okay? I got to have something. And then I have to, I'm human. I recognize that if I have to learn, write this one down. I have to learn to protect myself against me. Your biggest enemy out there is not the nose you get or your neighbor or your in-laws or outlaws. That's not your biggest enemy. Your biggest enemy that you're dealing with in this business is you. You know that. Whenever we use excuses from I wasn't in the right situation, we're just blaming everybody. You can't blame everybody. It's you. Now, you know you. You're no different than me. There are some traits about all of us that are pretty well predictable. Things are going to pull us out of focus, and we've talked about those, okay? I'm one of these guys. Just to give you an example. How did you stay going, Ken? I want to tell you how. There's one thing I'm predictable about. My word's good. Now, Be honest with yourself. Not everybody in this room can say that their word's good. You have procrastinated and excused away situations where you were supposed to be somewhere that you weren't. That is one of my strengths. I know my weaknesses and I know my strengths real well. And that is one strength I got. If I tell you I'm going to be there, I'm going to be there. I mean, I'm going to do everything. I think in the 15 years that Don and I have been involved in this business, there's only been 4 or 5 meetings that I couldn't get to, and I did everything I could possibly do to be there. I just couldn't get there for one reason or the other. And that's a pretty good, as many circles as I've drawn, that's a pretty good record. I know that there's going to be a time 3 or 4 days down the line or 3 or 4 weeks from now that I am not going to be in the mood to do this. I just came out of a rally. I came out of a function. I'm excited. I'm motivated. When I know that I'm going to come out of a situation and I'm going to be ready to kill the world, I mean, I'm going to be ready to just go out and get it. When I know that that's coming, I prepare myself to set my meetings up, do the things when I'm in a good, ready mood. I prepare myself against myself because Monday I may not be there. Example, either tonight or tomorrow, you guys are going to be fired up, hopefully. Take advantage of that time where you're feeling good. Take advantage of it. Don't say, well, I'm really feeling good. I think I'll just get all excited and I'll call on Monday night. You may not feel like that. You know how we all are. We're moody, some of us more moody than others. When you're on a roll, man, know that you're on a roll. Don't think it's going to be there forever. There's some of you in the room right now, you're so dang high on this thing, you just think that you're always going to be there. Don't be the fool and think you're always going to be there. Protect yourself against yourself. I always had meetings at least 30 to 60 days. Within 90 days of being in this business, I had meetings booked 30 days anyway away. 30 days away. That way, even if I wanted to quit, I couldn't quit till after that meeting. And let's say it was 2 weeks to that meeting, and I booked that meeting. I was really excited, and I booked that meeting 2 weeks from now. And let's say next week, I'm sitting here saying, dang, I booked that meeting, and I really am not in the mood to go do that meeting. My word's good. That's one of my strengths. Know your strengths. Know your weaknesses. I'm going to be there. I may not want to be there, but I'm going to be there. And when I'm there, here's what happens. I start showing that plan, and as I start showing that plan, do you know who I sponsor? Me. Me. What you confess, you possess. Now, I know some of you get turned off with that little statement because it might be a little religious for you, but it's a fact. It's a fact. Whatever your spiritual background is, what you confess, you possess. And if I'm sitting here and I can't tell you how many times I've done it. I did not want to be there drawing that plan. But by the time I got done with that plan, I'd sponsored me, and a lot of times I'd sponsored other people in the room too. It kept me going. I never woke up unemployed. In other words, I never woke up in this business and didn't have somewhere to go. Whether I was in a good mood or a bad mood, because on my good days, I booked solid. That way I had to be there even if the next week I didn't want to be there. Do y'all understand what I'm saying? It's one of the tricks to staying focused in this business. Now, beyond that, to stay focused for the long term, you have to establish some dreams. And they're going to be different for everybody in this room. I understand that. We're not all going to want the same thing. We shouldn't. I mean, we all have the right to want different things, okay? We all don't want a red Cadillac with white interior, okay, or whatever it may be. And that's why there's an array of things out there. Now, it's not only material things. There are a lot of you in the room, you're not interested in material things. I appreciate that. But what do you got clothes on for today? If you're not interested in material things. And if you're in, say, well, I need clothes. Well, then you surely understand the benefit of having the right clothes on. Okay, I can't imagine not. Yes, some of us might want to have 53 items that are licensed. Some of us may not. We don't all have to want that. That's not the point. The point is we got to have something out there that we're shooting for. Now, instead of getting specifics here, let me just cover a couple of things on the dream. By the way, I guess I should go ahead and write this down. This is the first thing that I want to cover is the dream. Nothing, and this is a fact, folks. It's not debatable. Nothing happens without the dream. Nothing happens without the dream. I don't find people that are out here focused in any endeavor they're involved in and succeed at it without knowing perfectly why they're doing it. And by the way, for some of you that are your first rally and you're uncomfortable with this dream business, I understand that. Let's put why down here. You might want to replace dream with why, or you might want to put reason. It doesn't matter what your why is, what your reason is, what your dream is. You got to find something. Now, here's what I experience. We all come into this business. All of us do. And in the first 90 days in this business, we're establishing a thought process. A thought process that expands a little beyond what most of us have ever enjoyed. Just to tell you where I'm coming from. When Don and I first got involved in this business, I seen the opportunity of maybe making $100,000. And the best year I'd ever had in 1980, I'd made $72,000. I've made in 1979. Which is pretty good money. It wasn't bad. That'd be like $150,000, $180,000 today, but it was good. But when I got involved in this business, I was making that kind of money. I says, if I could make $100,000 a year and not have to, because it's not that I'm not going to do it, it's having to do it I don't like. I want to be independent. I make my own choices. And I hate to deal with this. The fact is, you got to have money to do that. So if I want to make $100,000 a year and not go to work on Monday morning, that's what I want. That's how I started. Now, here's what happened to me. About 90 days, maybe 3 or 4 months, 5 months, whenever, as my understanding of this business developed, my vision developed. As I started seeing and listening and hanging around the people, I found that there were things out there beyond what I had ever dreamt or ever thought about. Now, hear what I'm saying, folks. You've heard it over and over and over. Dexter has always said, you've got to have a big dream, a big dream. Accept the fact that if you're going to have a big dream, if your dream that you have today is based on a dream you developed in the first 90 days in the business, I hate to tell you this, it ain't big enough. It ain't big enough. Because most of us, in our dreams that we develop, do not see the full benefit of this business or understand. We may see it, but don't believe it, don't understand it. Okay? I was that way. It was hard for me to comprehend. I would get people all the time asking me, say, Kenny, did you ever think you'd be where you are now? Yeah, about a year ago. Now, you hear what I'm saying? Now, I'm going to the extreme here. I try to look 5 years out, and I'm looking 5 years all the time. But the point is, when I first got in this business, I didn't have any plans on being a crown. I didn't know what a crown was, didn't know what it entailed. Brings up another point I want you to write down. Have a reverence for the success of this business. Or even better than that, have a reverence for success, period. Now, that may seem real trite and like a real light comment. There's a lot of depth to that. I find that most people coming into this business, their whole understanding of success and what it means and what it can accomplish for you is not right. It's not in tune with the opportunity that we're involved with, okay? In other words, we don't respect people who have succeeded. I got involved in this business, and about 90 days into it, I started developing a real reverence for people like Dexter Yeager. Dexter as much as anybody. I started not just saying, I'm going to be a Dexter, or I'm going to be a Diamond, I'm going to be a Hal Gooch, or Bill Childers, or an airline sponsor. I'm going to be just like them. I never said those things because I had too much respect, or I had a reverence. I didn't understand everything they'd done. And without understanding everything that they had done and being there, I was just not going to naively say, well, I'm going to be where you're at. Do you understand what I'm saying here? I wanted to be, and I figured, well, if I could even get halfway where they're at, I'm going to be all right, okay? I had a reverence. I had a respect for success. Most of us come to this business, we don't have that. We just want all the nice things, but we don't understand that with freedom comes responsibility. We don't understand that. Not that it's an overwhelming responsibility, because it's not, but there is some sense of responsibility. Well, I'm getting off here. The fact is, we got to have a dream. Now, how do you? I get this all the time. Well, how do you? Kenny, my big challenge is, I just don't have a dream. How do I get a dream? Now, if you understand the fact that when we come into this business, none of us dream big enough, then that's probably where we ought to start today. And that's where I start with my people in the first 90 days in this business. I don't sit around trying to be hokey with them and say, we need to develop a bigger dream. But I do try to get them in front of a bigger picture of the goodies that this business can develop and create for them. They'll learn the whys of this business and the how-tos of this business as they digest them. All I got to do is keep the atmosphere energetic and up to a right mode, so when they hear the how-tos, they accept them because they want what we're talking about. Now, here's just one suggestion, talking about the dream. I think that I talked to Scott about this behind stage, so I assume that I'm going to be all right here. Talked to Dexter about it, and Dexter said it was all right, so I guess we're all right here. I suggest, how many of you truly, honest to God, you would like to be a diamond? Now, don't give me yeah, but, you would really like to be one. I believe you when you say that. Listen to me. As hokey as this may sound to you, believe me, this is one little degree step that will definitely help. It's helped a lot of people in my organization. I want you to get subscriptions to every dream building magazine that you can get your hands on. Just give you some examples. DuPont Registry, The Rob Report, Unique Homes, get you a skin diving magazine, get you a yachting magazine, get you a sailboat magazine, get you car magazines, get you stereo equipment magazines, get all kinds of magazines. Now listen to me. I didn't say to go down, wives, and go down to your local magazine store and buy him a magazine. That's not what I said. I said get a subscription to that magazine. And if you're wise, get it for at least 2 years. If you can't afford to, get at least 12 months. Now here's why. Because between now and the end of this 12 months, you as a spouse are going to see your spouse, if you're married or otherwise, it doesn't matter, you're going to quit. You are going to quit. Almost every, folks, don't take this negatively. Listen to me. As high and as excited you all are right now, you're going to quit. If you accept the fact that you're going to have a bad week somewhere in the next 12 months, and you quit, I want those magazines to haunt you for the entire time that you have quit. You follow me? I want them to haunt you. When you're quit and decided that you know you should be out there drawing that plan or going out of town on the weekends, and you're sitting there watching the ball games on Saturday afternoon, and you're checking through the mail, and all of a sudden there's Unique Homes. Well, I don't want to look through it because I'm not in an opportunity now that I can get those things, so I don't want to tempt and you feel the guilt comes. It's exactly what I mean. Play on yourself. Fight yourself. Prepare yourself against yourself. Okay? Get those magazines, all of them, and look at them. Now, here's another point. Ken, I heard you say skin diving or yachting. Might be an even better one. Some of you in the room say, I get seasick. I don't want a boat. Even if I'm rich, Ken, I don't want a boat. That's not what I said. I didn't say, well, listen, if you are seasick, don't get a yachting magazine. You didn't hear me say that. But some of you in this room said that. But yet you tell me you want to be diamond. Quit saying, yeah, but me, Ken. Yeah, but me. I don't want to hear that. If you want to go diamond, listen to what I'm saying. Get that magazine anyway. Because here's what's going to happen. And I've seen this happen many a times. You're going through and you're sitting there and you're looking at articles. And you see some boat advertisement. Some really nice boat in the Caribbean. And you're sitting there and saying, okay, I'm looking through this because Kenny told me to look through it, and boy, that is really a pretty picture, but I just get seasick, and I even get seasick kind of looking at it. I don't even want to look at that boat. But then, wow, where is that in the background? What resort is that? Here's what I found out. One dream leads to another dream, that leads to another one, that leads to another one, that might become the dream that you can picture, that you want, that becomes a reality to you. It's through the power of association. We don't all like the same things, okay? Happens, Scott likes tractors and bulldozers. I like tractors and bulldozers too. But I can tell you that there are a lot of you in this room that don't like tractors and bulldozers. Okay? And that's fine if you don't. The point is, one thing leads to the other. Now, I realize, folks, that I have spent almost an hour just getting to this point. I know that. I mean, every time I do this, folks, I always feel like I have shortchanged you. Because let's just put it this way. I asked Scott, I ever ask everybody behind the stage, what do you want me to cover today? Everybody says, it's you. Whatever you want to cover, you can cover. Folks, at this point, I have a right to get up here because of Scott and MJ and the other diamonds. I can say whatever I want. You're missing it. I can say whatever I want. I want to help you. I love this business. When you succeed, my group succeeds. When my group succeeds, your group succeeds. This is a business of people helping people, literally. There is nothing that I can spend more time on, and I've already spent more than I wanted to. There is nothing I could spend more time on than the dream. I have been in literally, at this point, thousands upon thousands of living rooms. I have sit down with literally probably well over 100,000 people individually over the last 15 years. I want to tell you something. Don't underestimate the power of the dream. Don't underestimate the value of the dream. There is nothing else that counts if the dream. And we all sit there and say, okay, Ken, I understand, get on to something else. Don't assume that that person you're talking to has a dream, because even if they do, it's not big enough. Because they're not used to an opportunity that has this much ability to it. Does this make sense to you? I mean, I know I'm overkilling it. I think I know what I'm talking about here. It is the one area that everybody misses out on. And I've just covered one area with the magazines. Get them. Trust me. Get them. Boy, I hate it when I sound like a salesman when I say trust me. Okay? I don't like it any more than you do, but I appreciate it. But get the magazines. Go out and collect yourself a subscription of magazines. Get on them. Don't go to the store and buy them. Get on them. Now, I want you to stay with me here, because this is some real simple stuff. Now, if you remember, all I'm doing for the most part here is I'm talking about how do you stay focused, how do you stay out of this maze so you can go diamond and end up having the most incredible lifestyle you could ever dream of having within the next 2-3 years. Number one, make sure that this is never treated as a secondary thing. This is the most important thing going on now. What we all want and what you all came for here today, and I appreciate it because that's the way it is, what we all would like to do is we would like to be more effective. Is that not right? How many of you like to up your sponsoring rate? Okay. How many of you don't really care about your sponsoring rates, just keeping in the people that you got and helping them, okay? A little of both, right? Okay? We all want to be more effective, and that's why we come to things like this. We're trying to be more effective. But here's the challenge. All of us coming into this business have never been real effective like we need to be in this business. And if we have, this is still a different business. So here's what's going on. Let's just put it this way, just to start right now. I'm not sure why I'm doing this. I'm just having a really good time. I'm not going to be as effective, tell me if I'm wrong, as if I said, I know exactly why I'm doing this. I know exactly what I'm trying to accomplish. And by knowing exactly what I'm trying to accomplish, I'm going to be more effective. Does that make sense? Okay? I got a big dream. I'll assume that for now. Safe or terrible thing to put assume and dream in the same sentence. But I got a big dream. That's definitely going to make me be more effective. When I first got involved in this business, folks, I told Paul Starter, my sponsor, I said, I'm going to do one meeting a week. That's how I started. Surprise you, maybe. Every Thursday, we'll have a meeting. I did not invite very many people. Most of the people I invited did not show up, even though they said they were going to. Okay? Some of them even worked for me and didn't show up. Not a smart move. Okay? At that point. It was not, you all have heard my story. We got in April 1st, 1980. July 4th weekend of 1980, we went to our first major function. It was in Florida, the Fountain Dew in Florida. Up until that point, we had put a few people in the business, and when we would get together, we had a good time. Just to give you one little attitude, might help some of you out. We'd go to the little mini rallies in our local area back in Springfield. And after the mini rally, Don and I, we'd take our small, 4 or 5 couples, and we'd go down to the bar and have a few drinks and disco dance till it closed. That's what we did. Now, I'm not against going to the bar and disco dancing and having a good time. I'm not here to condemn that or take issue with that. The point is when I went to that function, at that function, I finally figured out what I'm trying to accomplish. I established a dream. I knew what I was trying to accomplish, and I came out of that weekend. I drew the plan 76 nights in a row, and believe me, I was effective. I had probably drawn, I don't know how many plans, but I'd drawn at least a few plans before we went to that function. I had a big dream. I thought I had a big dream. But I was not near as effective. My group, it was interesting. After we walked away from that function, my posture, when you're drawing the plan 76 nights in a row, folks, you know exactly what you're trying to accomplish. My group started looking at me as the leader. Some of you are saying, I'm the leader, I'm upline, how come they're not following me? It's because you ain't going anywhere that they want to follow you. That's what it is. Okay? If you're out there drawing the plan, I don't care if you're sponsoring people or not, but if you're out there drawing the plan 5 and 6 nights a week, you shouldn't have any problem having anybody follow you. Okay? They should have trouble keeping up with you. But when you're sitting here drawing the plan 1 or 2 nights a week like I was, which is how we all start, because we're building our commitment. I understand that. I'm not condemning that. But at some point within a realistic amount of time, you should get to the point, I'm going on with this thing, and I'm going on with or without them. And I will tell you that a lot of those people quit. I was effective when I came out of that function. Now, get with me here. If I've got a dream, and I want to be more effective, between the dream and being effective when I'm out there showing the plan or talking to the group I already got, I need to have the right attitude. Would you agree? Now, you all tell me. Do you agree? This is audience participation time. You do agree? Okay? What attitudes do I need to have to be more effective? Positive. What other attitudes do I need to have? Love? Posture? Commitment? Intensity? Consistency? Acceptance? Oh, excitement. Belief? Willingness? Huh? Caring? Is that what he said? Determination? Who said specific intent? Raise your hand. Who said that? Where's she? Oh, right up there. Stand up. Specific intent. You're absolutely right, but give me a break, lady, okay? Specific intent. It's like I did this one time and some person hollered tenacity. I don't even know what tenacity is. I said, do I have it? And it says, yeah, do I have tenacity? I still don't know what tenacity is. Does that give you all hope? I went crown without knowing what tenacity is. Ha, 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 ha. Yeah. Okay? Good. These words I understand. Because why do I understand these words? Believe me, I didn't understand all these when I got in this business. Believe me, I didn't. I'm not near as sharp as you all think I am. Okay? You know how I learned these words? Listen to the tapes. I'm serious. That's how I learned them all. Consistency. What else? Strength. How about better than strength? And I don't mean to put words in your mouth. How about bold? Will that help? Focus. Persistence. Commitment. We got commitment. Well, trust. Let's just stop here for a minute. No, I want to keep on going here. Let's deal with trust for a minute. I come from a background. You don't trust nobody. Does anybody else come from a background like that? Being up here in the Northeast, what I consider Northeast, I know you all consider yourself Midwesterners. We look at you as Northeasterners, okay? And I apologize for that ahead of time. It's just a perspective, okay? You surely understand I don't trust anybody. Are y'all that way? Yeah? Okay. I want to tell you something. I had trouble with that when I first got in this business. Just trust me. Just trust me. I said, you tell me you don't trust me, you're the first person I don't trust. I mean, you know, that was kind of my attitude. One of the unique things that I have found about this business that is not talked about enough is how do I say this? There is a tremendous amount of trust in this business. But here's the beauty of it. This business is a self-cleansing business. If you're messing around or you're screwing people or trying to tear them down or whatever you're trying to do that you might do in other businesses to get a step ahead, this business your group won't follow you. This business requires some integrity. It requires it. Here's another way. You can't cheat and go, you might be able to cheat and go direct. But you can't cheat and go diamond. I like that about this business. When I go diamond club, I see those guys going across stages, brand new diamonds. I mean, the business cleanses. I'm not sure I'm saying, but you understand what I'm saying? It's a business that it perpetuates a trust. I like that about this business. In other words, Bill Childers did not make any money by lying to me. Does that make sense? Scott and MJ do not make any money by lying to you. If they tell you the truth and they help you deal with the truth, sometimes it's not pleasant, that helps you. So anyway, it just makes it. Okay, what else we got up here? Relatability. Relatability. Optimism. Optimism. What? Fun. Okay. We got the enough. Okay. Now, we've got it here. Let me ask you something. Stay with me. This is so simple that I'm telling you, I've done this, and people say, oh yeah, that's cute, Ken. And they just keep on doing what they're doing and stay broke. Let me put it another way. How many of you know how important the system is? Tapes, books, rallies, all those things. They're important, okay? Another way that'll help you here is I'm going to explain to you why those things are important. We all understand the system. I think within 90 days, most people that stay in the business through 90 days understand the system. Here's another key. Most people are in for quite a while before they appreciate the value of the system. Now, I'm going to point that out to you. Stay with me here. If I've got a big dream and I am focused, I'm positive, I got belief, I'm persistent, I got optimism, I got posture, determination, I'm reliable, I'm excited, I'm consistent, I trust, I'm bold, I'm caring, I'm intense, I'm committed, I'm fun, and I'm willingness, Let me tell you, I ask you something. How effective do you think I'm going to be? It's exactly how I went diamond in 29 months. I developed the very best, and it wasn't always good enough, but at least I was trying every day to keep all these attitudes. I knew why I wanted it. I developed that. I kept these attitudes, and I became very, 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 very extremely good and effective. Did it mean I sponsored everybody? No. I didn't sponsor everybody. My sponsoring rate has never been that great, okay? But I was effective enough to go at least diamond in 29 months. Now, let me ask you something before we go any farther. Are there any of these traits here, do you think, that God said, no, you can't have? Stand up. We'll pray for you now. Okay? Are you with me? You follow what I'm saying? There is nothing here that has anything to do with who runs the Congress right now. There is nothing here, and I'm dealing with this because some of us, when we get in this business, we have a hang-up. There seems to be some politics in this thing, okay? And I don't see the way you guys all see her. It seems to be a little spiritual overtones here, and I sure don't see the way you do. I don't appreciate it. I respect you for how you feel. That may be a better word. But folks, don't you confuse anything that you hear, spiritual or political, just those two issues. Don't get those confused with these. These are attitudes, whether you're a Democrat or Republican, or if you're pro-choice or not for choice, or if you're kill the animals or save the animals, it don't matter. These are traits, folks, that we would all like to have. And if we've got these traits, or these attitudes, I guess, these attitudes, if I've got a big dream and I'm a Democrat with these attitudes, I'm going to be effective and go diamond. I know that there's at least one of you that would love to stand up and clap right now, and that's all right. Or I'm a Buddhist, or I'm a Islam, whatever, or I'm a Presbyterian, or I'm a Episcopal, or whatever. If I've got a big dream and I've got these attitudes, I'll be effective no matter what my spiritual or political persuasions are. Agreed? Agreed. Okay. But here's where some of you that just agree with that start arguing with me. But I want to make some sense out of this to you. And I'm going to kill this. If I got a dream and I've got these attitudes, I will be effective when I put the effort in. Now, let me ask you this. No, I won't even do that one. I'll say that one for tomorrow. I have another 4-board seminar I'm going to use tomorrow. If I've got a dream and I've got these attitudes, and you all, I assume you agreed that we can all have those attitudes, I will be effective. If it's that simple, Ken, and that's how you got these attitudes, how do you do that? Well, let me word it this way. If I've got a big dream, but I don't have these attitudes, how effective am I going to be? Not as effective. Would you all agree with me that most of us coming in this business don't have these attitudes all the time? Sure, let's be honest with ourselves. And it's not that we wouldn't like to have them, but it's like listening to a motivational speaker. How many of you, before you got in Amway, ever listened to somebody who was a motivational speaker? I'd listen to him. You know what my problem was? And this is not to say that's wrong. I'm just saying, how do I apply what they're saying to my business? How do I go out here, and you guys know what plumbers know. 2 things a plumber knows. Okay? Y'all don't know? Friday's payday, and crap runs downhill. Okay? When I'm talking to a plumber when I was in the home building business, and I know that that's all he knows, it's hard to sit there and tell him, now listen, you need to be a little more caring. Are you with me? It's hard for us to relate these to our business. It's hard for you to picture, I'm sure for at least a lot of you, to carry these, especially in the blue collar, which is me and my background. Okay, it's hard to picture these attitudes with all the blue collar people that I worked with, and I was one of them. Okay, it's hard to carry it. But here's what I want you to understand. If I've got a dream and I got those attitudes, I'm going to be effective. If it's that simple, Ken, then why don't we all go diamond? You already told me if you got a big dream and you're the one that put these up. The only one I replaced here was strength with boldness, okay? You'll be more effective. I assume that you're all agreeing with me on that, okay? If you're agreeing with me, then what gets in the way here? Here's where I'm going. If that's it, why? What is the deal? Okay? Now here's what it is. I'm going to throw out the things that kill those attitudes that you said we have to be more effective. Let me throw out one just to start with. Huh? Brother-in-law. Let's just put this one up here. Let's just do this. Family. Now, here's where I think so far I don't think I've insulted anybody in the room. You may not like my personality, but I don't think I've insulted you. Now I'm going to say some things that there's at least a couple of you in the room you ain't going to like. But you already, unless you just didn't have the guts to stand up, agreed with me that if I've got a big dream and I got these attitudes, I'll be effective. So if you want to stand up, now I don't know what okay? Here's what we do. There's going to be some of you in this room, you spend a lot of money. I was on the plane this morning and nobody knew it, but I was in the back of the plane sleeping, but there were some people from Dallas that were on that plane. Is that right? Are y'all in here? Okay, I came in from Dallas today. Okay, in the back. Here's the thing. You spend a lot of money to be here. I understand that. But here's what some of you are going to do. You know that this is what you got to accomplish, and you come out of this and you have established, at least on a short-term basis, some of these attitudes, hopefully. And some of you are going to run over to your in-laws or your outlaws on tomorrow night, Sunday night, and sit there and talk to them for 3 hours. And they don't have any of these attitudes. Now, folks, I'm not against us loving our parents. I've got some great parents. I really do. I got great parents. Donna's got great parents. We love them to death. But, folks, there was a year and a half in this business that I could not get around my parents, and they lived less than 15 miles, actually 10 miles from me, 15 minutes from my house. And I didn't see them for a year and a half. Did it mean I didn't love my parents? No. I loved my parents. But I couldn't afford to be around them. My first responsibility was to my family and to my business. It was not to my parents who did not understand what I was involved in. I sit there, now listen to me, I sit there driving down the road one day and I was talking to a landscape guy about coming to an Amway meeting, and he was sitting there and we're visiting, and all of a sudden here comes my dad and he hollers at the guy and me. He says, "Hey, if he's talking to you about that Amway business, you better get away from him." That's my dad. You all have got parents that, not all of you, but some of you got parents this way too. They're shooting you down for leaving your kids or doing this or doing that or whatever. Well, you ain't got any extra money. Why are you doing that? They don't understand what you know, what you told me that you knew, which is you got to have these attitudes. And yet you sit here and allow, and it's not anybody else. It's not your upline. It's not your downline. It's not your crossline. It's not a tape. I mean, what tape have you heard that says, now listen, here's what I want you to do. I want you to go to a rally and get really fired up and then go to your outlaws or your in-laws that are really negative and spend a day or two with them. What tape have you all heard? Now listen to me, I'm talking about staying focused. You all agree with me, I assume you do, that if you're going to go diamond in this business, you got to get focused. That means that there's going to be some things that you're going to have to push to the side for a little while. And what you'll find is a lot of times, not always, but sometimes you'll end up replacing those things with bigger and better anyway, okay? I had an 18-foot Cobalt boat. Man, I was in love with that boat. That was my pride and joy possession, okay? I gave it up. I sold it for 50 cents on the dollar in 1981, and today I've got 7 Sea-Doos, a ski boat, and a 38-foot Sea Ray with a 1,200-watt stereo in it that is just awesome, okay? You know, it just hit me. I spent more money. That stereo system was almost $30,000. That was almost twice what that Cobalt cost me in 1980, okay? With the whole boat. This was just the stereo system I put in, okay? Always got these kids, you know, that are boom, 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 you know, you pull up beside you. They don't do that around me at the lake. Sometimes I trick them a little, you know, I'll turn it up just, you know, to maybe 1, you know, and they'll turn theirs all up the way to 10, as if 10 was the highest, you know, and think they're going to drive me crazy. Then I'll get them. But anyway, I'm just saying to you, if you know, folks, this is common sense stuff. That it's so common it makes some of us uncomfortable because we know it's the truth, but we don't want to deal with it. If we've got a big dream and we got these attitudes, we're going to be effective. But let me ask you, how many times do we sit here, we go to a function or go somewhere, and then we go over for family reunion or we go over for Thanksgiving or for Christmas? You don't think it was tough for me not to go to my parents' house on Christmas? Something we'd done for years. I was going diamond. My parents are very glad today that I decided not to spend a year and a half with them, okay? But I'm telling you, at the time it was tough. My parents didn't quite understand, and I didn't jump on them. I just said, Mom, Dad, I love you, but I'll be honest with you, I am focused and I can't afford to stay around you guys right now. That's what I said to them. You know, and you guys got to do the same thing. And I know that some of you are real close to your parents. I appreciate that. I'm not here to push. I want you, folks, this is just simple logic. This is not Amway hype or Amway hokey pokey stuff here. You got to see this. If I know exactly where I'm going and what I want to accomplish, I got to have that attitude to be effective when I do it. And I sure can't afford to be around a bunch of negative in-laws and outlaws that are sitting here slamming the door every time I say anything, or even when I don't say anything, just because I got involved in Amway and chose that as an opportunity, which is 20 times better than anything they're going to do in the first place. And yet we walk right into it and say, okay, here I am. And you take all the mental and the verbal abuse some of you do, or sometimes they don't say anything at all, and that's even worse, isn't it? So it's hard to have this dream if you're around a lot of in-laws, and yet you got to keep this attitude, because they'll tear at it. Attitudes are something they don't teach you an education on, but they're the most vital part, other than the dream, of succeeding. Okay, not only the family. What else? How about money? I love this one. I do. It just burns me up. People tell me, well, I can't build it because I ain't got any money. Well, let me just deal with this. Before you tell me you don't have any money, because if I got a dream, yes, it is going to take a little money. You know that. One of the things about this business, and I appreciate this about this business nickel and dimes you to death. Have you all figured that out? And some of you actually complain about that. Not anybody in this room that's ever been in business for themselves. It's always you that are working for somebody else that have no appreciation for your employer, who sit here and complain because it nickels and dimes you. When I was in the home building business, to make $79,000 that last year, I had borrowed almost $2 million. $2 million to make $70-some thousand a year in income in 1979. You don't think I appreciated it when they told me it was going to cost me $5 or $10 to go to a meeting? That's all? Don and I 3 years ago went to Las Vegas to go to the Home Builders Convention out there, and we had a little end to be able to get into that. We spent $341 each to walk in the door to just see displays. If we wanted to go to any meetings where they were teaching anything, which we didn't want to learn any of it, but we would have had to pay extra. We paid our own way out there. They didn't buy any food, no nothing. It was $341, if I remember right, per person to walk in the door. $5 to go to this or $5 to buy a tape, that was a steal. And you guys ought to be ashamed of yourself if you ever complain about what it costs to build this business. Businesses it does cost some money. But boy, compared to anything else, you know, I mean, you just can't beat it, okay? But before you tell me that you don't have any money, and you can't go to the next major function, whatever major function you got, before you tell me you can't go to it, I want to make sure that you go to your house because you don't have any money. Surely to God, you don't have a six-pack of Coca-Cola or a six-pack of beer in your refrigerator because you don't have any money. And by the way, let's make sure to go in your cupboards because you don't have any money. You wouldn't have any Oreo cookies in there because you don't have any money. And by the way, let's just make sure that you don't have your TV hooked up to cable because, my God, you don't have any money. Don't tell me you don't have any money. Reason you ain't got any money is not because of this business or anything. It's because you're not focused. And if you're going to get focused, let's go back to what I spent an hour on that you thought was ridiculous because you ain't got no money. Bub, you better get yourself a dream or you'll never have any money. And then once you get that dream, you better get your act together and develop an attitude that develops the effect. You get rid of that cable TV and you buy yourself some tapes. You get rid of those Oreo cookies. Most all of you in this room could just take the junk food a week and buy the tapes. Just the junk food. But no, you'd rather get a pot belly than you would to put some stuff on your mind so you and your family and generations to come can live. Do you know that Don and I just got doing some trust estate work for our kids' great-grandkids? For 2.5 years, folks, I didn't have no Oreo cookies in my cupboard. And I didn't have any Coke or 6 packs of beer in my refrigerator, and we weren't hooked up to cable. And now I'm sitting here 12 years later developing or working on some estate planning for my kids' grandkids. So it's not that you don't have any money, it's that your focus or your dream ain't big enough. Admit it. Because if you'll admit it, then you can start dealing with it. This is not to condemn you. It's just that one of the first things you got to do in this business is the 11th commandment. Be honest with yourself. Be honest with yourself. Don't sit there and tell me, here's another one. Time. I love this one. Well, I just don't have any time even to listen to tapes. If you drive to work and drive home, you got time to listen to tapes. Don't sit there and say, I don't have any time. You got time, okay? Some of you sit in front of the TV for quality time with your kids. And you think you're a bigger influence on them than what's on TV. By the way, TV. Let me ask you this. When's the last time that you had a big dream and decided to watch Brokaw and say, man, I tell you what, after listening to him, I sure feel more focused. I'm sure more persistent. I feel a whole lot more positive. I've got a lot of belief now that I've listened to Dan Rather. I even feel kind of caring and I'm having fun and I just a willingness and a commitment, okay? But yet you told me this is what you want. Let's throw another one down here. Newspaper. I tell you what, every time I read the newspaper, it just makes me more willing. Well, I'm running out of time. Downline. Well, if I had the right downline, then I could be more persistent. I could be more loving and optimistic and all that, and then I would be more effective. So now you're blaming it on your downline. Here it goes, write this one down. Sponsor somebody else. Whose business is it? It isn't theirs anyway. Guess what? That downline are going to either get on or get off. It don't matter. You get on with it and keep on rolling. When you're going down through here, you're going diamond, you ain't got time to say, because what's going to happen is you're going to crash into something. I went to my first function, folks, and I sit in a room with about 2,000 people in 1980 in July, and I looked around that room and I said, I hate to use it, I'm a realist. They all came with the good intentions. You all came here with good intentions. But folks, the fact is, some of you ain't gonna make it. Is it because you can't or God didn't give you the ability? I don't buy that, and if you do, that you are a pathetic sight, okay, in my opinion, okay, to buy that. What I'm saying to you is you need to understand you're up against the same things everybody else is against. And I didn't say there, I think people call me, I'm pretty strong-willed. Okay, I am. And you all got this impression of me, you know, that boy Kenny just is a bulldozer going down through there. I know you all have that. Okay, my own group's got that. But I got to do the same things that you got to do, and it ain't nothing that has anything to do with personality or abilities or aptitudes or anything. I got to stay away from negative family. I got to quit wimping out and using time or money as an excuse, or the TV getting in my way, or the newspaper. I got to have these attitudes. You told me you got to have them, and if I got them, I'm going to be effective, and if I'm effective, I'm going diamond, and there'll be a time where I'm sitting here doing estate planning, and you'll be doing estate planning for generations to come. That's what you got a hold of, and we're sitting here playing games with it saying, well, I'm tired tonight. How many of you ever got up and went to work when you were tired? You did it, didn't you? You did it, didn't you? For a paycheck that was spent probably before the Monday that you went to work that you hadn't even earned it yet. And you already spent it, and you went to work because you were tired. You went anyway. And we're sitting here talking about being financially independent and never working for another man or another woman the rest of your life, and we say, well, I'm tired. I'm tired. Well, I just don't know. I just don't know if it's for me. What do you think? There's somebody there, you have a high school counselor, some idiot counselor, and sitting there at 16 years old and says, I had one at 16 years old says, Kenny, you ought to be a disc jockey. I want to win it. You all might think that too. I'd be a good one, I think. I'd love to do what Dave Letterman does. But you know something? I wanted to be a commercial artist when I was in high school. And I was determined, even though I got kicked out, I was gonna figure out how to do it. Now listen to me. Until that counselor says you ought to be a disc jockey. And I started thinking about, well, maybe I should be a disc jockey. Ridiculous. Well, I love this one. If I had the right upline. Well, don't you hear this one? Well, yeah, we were in that one time, but all of our upline quit. How many of you ever heard that? When did Rich and Jay quit? When did they quit? When did they quit? Let me tell you something. Use your upline as support. Use your upline as support, but don't you put them on a godlike pedestal. I don't care whether it's Dexter Yeager, Richard J., Ken Stewart, or Scott and MJ. We're not gods. Okay, we ain't. And we all know that. You need to know that. You need to understand what we're trying to accomplish here. We're just giving you, well, guess what? This is not going to happen, but Scott and MJ could quit tomorrow. So some of you, your dreams, you just kind of let them go because Scott and MJ quit. Scott and MJ are your support, but when they're not your support, does that mean when they're not supporting you, you can't go on? You bet you can go on. Folks, I've had challenges in my upline where people got out of focus. I'm not naive to think that wouldn't happen to me someday. I'm not. But I'm sold out to my dreams. And you need to be sold out to yours and use the support. It's there to help you. Okay? Use it. Don't sit there and blame, well, I can't get a positive attitude because I'm around my upline. Well, then go up another one and go up another one. Well, I can't sit down and visit with them. They ain't got time for me. Then listen to the tapes. I've had people sit down with me and they say, Kenny, I inbox me, or they'll get a hold of me somehow. And they'll say, Kenny, I got, between me and you, there's like 18, 20 people. And I can't relate to any of them. Now, who do you think's got the problem there? I can't relate to 18 different people. His big problem is he can't relate to anybody. You think all 18 are clones? They ain't clones. We just learned these have nothing to do with personality. None of them. Jimmy Dunn, my upline diamond, lives right there in Springfield. Came over and had a cup of coffee with me yesterday. We are so opposite of each other, it's incredible. Jimmy's real, I don't know if you know who he is. Jimmy's real soft-spoken. He was one of the head honchos for Assemblies of God, which is their headquarters is in Springfield. Real perfect. Jimmy and I laugh about it. I'm always trying to loosen up. His hair is always neat. I go over and just mess it up every once in a while. Now that I'm crowned, I can mess it up every once in a while. Nobody else is around, okay? But we have fun. You know what I'm saying? I mean, we understand each other, and we don't, somebody said intensity here, and I wasn't going to say anything, but I might as well right now. Not everybody's got to be a Ken Stewart to go diamond in 29 months. I know how I am. I jump up and I'm intense and all that type of thing, but not everybody that goes diamond quick is like that. Don't use me as an excuse to fail. Don't use me as an excuse. Or Scott tells jokes. I seen him and MJ, they went across stage at EDC's, over there. And that's the hardest group to say anything to. What are you going to say to a group of diamonds at Diamond Club? You're not going to tell them anything. Scott and MJ, they get up there, and they just kind of look so perfect, and everything. And Scott says some things, and everybody laughs and all that. I went up as crown, and 2 years earlier, what are you going to say? I just fumbled all over my words. They were so smooth, and I was so blah. I didn't have anything profound to say at anything because I knew who I was talking to. But I went crown. You don't have to be perfect. Just understand the principles, okay? If I've got a big dream and I can stay away from all this garbage, I'm going to be effective because I got this attitude. Let me repeat it again. If I know exactly what I'm trying to accomplish, now most of you don't know exactly what you're trying to accomplish because you ain't listened to enough tapes. You haven't associated with enough people who are dreaming bigger and thinking bigger than you are. And some of you say, well, I'm not going to waste that money on the subscriptions. I love this one because I'm a self-motivated person. Where are you? Man, what an egotistical thing you are. Think I'm a self-motivated person and I don't need anybody. Man, I'll tell you what, here's what you're going to find out, fool. You're not my group, I'm leaving, Michael's will have to clean the whole thing up. I think I'm a pretty self-motivated person. But I am not foolish enough to not follow those who are already where I want to go. And for you to think you're going to come up with this business is over 30 years old now, there are millionaires. I used to say, there's a millionaire in every state that's in the Amway business. Now there are millionaires in every major city and a lot of small cities in this country. Licking, Missouri, population 625 people. I got 2 diamonds, an emerald, and I don't know how many profit-sharing directs in that city, okay? And you know what? The only gas station in that town, he still doesn't think it works. It's all right. But if I got a dream and I'm using these things or hanging around those things, this ain't going to happen. Newspaper. We went to that function, 1980. Toby Hale stood on stage, told me to quit taking the newspaper, quit watching the TV. I did both. I haven't taken a newspaper. I can't tell you I've never read one, and I can't tell you I've never watched TV, okay? I want you to understand that. I'm not that perfect. But I can tell you, and I can look in the eye, and I can tell you that when Don and I walked out of that function, we taped up our TV, literally taped it up, and had it totally taped for 30 days. And I want to tell you something, we'll never watch TV again in our life. We'll always see it differently. I cannot believe, and you believe me, I know somebody's saying, yeah, I can't know what you mean. No, if you haven't done what I'm telling you, you have no appreciation for what I'm saying. Go out and you ain't gonna believe. Folks, the Super Bowl, I don't know how many millions Budweiser spent to do, is Bud Light or Nike or all these different companies spent to convince you to buy their product. They're not stupid. Don't think you can't be sold a bill of goods off a commercial. If that doesn't happen, they wouldn't spend the millions of dollars to do it. Believe me, they're selling you a bill of goods and you're buying it, and you may not even know you're buying it. Don and I didn't know either. Understand what I'm saying? I'm just saying if you want a dream, or if you got a dream, a big one, you understand the business that you're involved in, you can't afford to be involved in some things that are going to tear down the attitudes that you have so you're not effective. By golly, if I'm going to put in the work, I want some activity. I want something to happen. I don't want to put in a work and at the end of the week I got nothing. I don't want that. I want something. I want to show something for it, but I can't sit here and play these games back and forth. I can't do that. That doesn't mean, I don't want you to misunderstand, it doesn't mean that we don't have financial troubles. You guys know that I do. I'll share more of that tonight. Family, I share with a little of that. Time, TV, newspaper, all these things, these are challenges that we all have. They're the things when we're going through the maze, the going diamond, that tug at us and get our focus off for a little while. And you can't afford that. This business is too big for that, folks. You've never been involved in anything as big as this business is. We have just scratched the scratch of the scratch. Just scratched it. I mean, folks, it's big. Big. Huge. No, that's Victor's. It's big, okay? It's big. Humongous. Huge. It's do it. Do it. We're talking about Walmart. Walmart. Listen to this. You sit here and say, well, I don't want to deal with these little product stuff and all that kind of stuff that Amway deals with. Sam Walton, Benton, Arkansas, is only an hour and a half from where I live. Well, we are Walmart. We are Walmarted big time in our area. It's a great store. I have no problems with it at all. One of the managers of one of the Walmart stores in Springfield is in our business. Listen to this. He told me that I think it's the 6th largest volume Walmart store in the United States is on a street called Campbell Street in Springfield, Missouri. And this is what he said. He said something like 67%. This is good. 67% of the volume of the 6th largest Walmart store in the United States is in 3 aisles. Do you know what those 3 aisles are? They're the business you're in. They're the business you're in. They're the business you're in without spending the millions of dollars for the employees, liability. You're in the business without the brick front, without the parking lot, without the advertising campaign that has to go on. We have that business. We have the very best part of Walmart. And it costs you less than $100 and whatever dollars. And we sit here and say, I just don't have any time. Use some common sense. This is not, just use some sense. You got the very best, folks. Take advantage of it. Remember, 2, 3, 4 years from now, there's not a one of you in this room that shouldn't be literally totally out of debt and be full-time in this business. That's what is before you. And all you got to do is learn to take control and quit blaming it on somebody else. And you'll be there with us. God bless y'all. We'll see you later tonight.
There we are. Are you excited? Okay, here's the scoop. You can keep your seats for tonight.
Well, wait a minute. You got to give them back eventually.
But you got to give them back eventually.
That's right, yeah.
Now, here is the bad news. We are not responsible. I mean, if you want to leave stuff on your seat, which you're going to obviously have to do to keep them with something, make sure it's something that, well, I know we all trust each other, but the only thing that Tom Moore wanted us to let you know is that we are not responsible for anything that's lost. And of course, you're going to have to eat something. There's concessions and places to eat all over. Roy?
We need 2 pearls behind stage right now. Immediately, okay, please.
So we love you, and we'll see you
pearls.
soon.
All righty.